Hi, John Bailey from GemstoneArtist, back with another GEMCAD sequencing video. This one for the square Barion style cut. I'm also going to show some tricks for getting these little corner emerald style facets on a step style crown, on putting those together in a more easy way. So this is from Watermeyer's original square Barion design. I used to love looking at this design, but I didn't love cutting it because getting the proportions, the width across the long girdle facet and the short girdle facet, getting that just right so all the meats came together was a little bit tricky. So I created a cam design, and I represented the cam design in the faceting plan, but I did it in shorthand. There's a little instruction across the bottom here. Cam equals facet number 1. Facet number 1 at 41.4. If you see this location here, facet number 1 at 41.4, it says cut to point, and cam that with facet number 3 at 42 degrees. Facet number 3 is right here, and you actually cut it at 41.8, but we cam it at 42 degrees, and here's another reminder of that right here. And how do you do that? What the heck does it mean? We're going to just demonstrate it so it's actually much easier than it seems. So in GEMCAD, we're going to make sure we're on a fourfold mirror image symmetry. The first cutting instruction is for angle of 41.4 on an index of 12. That's going to give us a nice corner cut stone. Because CAM means center angle method, which means meet at a point in the center. The instruction says at 42 degrees for the cam, and it's on facet number 3, index of 6. So we're going to use 42 degrees on an index of 6, and we're going to cut that. So the initial facet here was facet number 1. This is the facet we just put in, and that's actually facet number X because it's going to be cut out. It's right now just for the cam design. We're going to remove this facet in a moment. So it's time to put in the girdle and calibrate the width of the stone, which we just did. So the stone is calibrated for width. We're going to look at the side closely. This is facet number 1. This is facet number X, and here's our girdle facet. Together they form this meat right here, and that's the explicit meat to create the corner geometry and have it be exactly the right size. So now that we have that sized correctly, we're going to use the same meat, also an index of 0, at an angle of 65 degrees. That presents the Barion adapter facet right here. That's facet number 2 on the faceting plan. If you download it from my website, I'm following exactly according to the plan. So now in the pavilion view right here, we're going to remove facet number X by putting in facet number 3. We're going to meet where the girdle facets, facet number 1, facet number 2, and the X guide facet come together. We're doing facet number 3, so we're going to cut at an angle of 41.8, which is shallower than 42, so we're going to cut 42 away. 41.8 on an index of 6. 41.8 on an index of 6, and when we cut that facet, GEMCAD's going to warn us because it's telling us we're going to remove that facet number X. Yes, we know. We're happy doing that, and when we do it, we're going to overcut here at the center. If we back up one step, you'll see that we had a nice culet, and when we redo that step, here we are in the center, and we've lost facet number X. This is facet number 3. Facet number 4 is now going to meet at this point. It's really important to be very accurate when you drop in facet number 3 because the rest of the stone is going to come off at this point. So we're going to use that point to cut. Number 4 is an index of 2 on the faceting plan. 42.5 degrees. Number 4 is right here, 42.5 degrees. So 42.5 degrees. That creates facet number 4 right there, which leaves the center waiting for facet number 5. It meets here at 2 and 4. It's on an index of 0, and it's an angle of 41.8. There's your explicit Barion square pavilion geometry created with a center angle method strategy. The crown's really easy. We just transfer the stone, angle of 40, and copy the angle of 40 all the way around. Come a little less than halfway, a little less than half of this dimension right here from the girdle. And that'll give you just about the right amount to come to here for that last girdle facet. If we zoom in, you'll be able to see that we can use that little point right there to guide the table, and we have a nice little pointy facet on the last strip. It's not shown exactly that way on the faceting diagram, but that's another way of doing it to kind of bring the meats together nicely. Those little tiny pointy corner facets can be a real trick to polish and to get them nice and flat. They tend to round off a little bit. So there's a trick that I like to do, and I want to share for getting these corners. This long crown facet is an angle of 40. The short one here also angle of 40. This one 35, the corner one 35, and then 30, and also 30. You can make these corner facets on any kind of a girdle or any kind of a emerald type faceting plan. You can make these corner facets a lot easier to do by making them 2 degrees more shallow. So that was 40 degrees, so we'll make it an angle of 38 degrees, and you'll see it overcuts. And I don't recommend doing this after the fact. I'm just doing it after the fact to demonstrate it. So on an index of 12, we're going to be, that was 35, an angle of 33, and it's going to warn us for removing facets. So that drops in further, and that was an angle of 30, so we'll make it 28. And you get a much nicer little fold in on your corners by just dropping them 2 degrees compared to the long crown facets. That's a little trick that I like to use. I wanted to share it kind of at the end of this video as a reward for watching the whole thing. Hope you enjoy it. You've got your Basil Watermeyer style Barion square. This is a beautiful performer. It's not difficult to cut, and the cam makes it a lot easier. If you have any other questions, catch me on gemstoneartist.com. I try to answer my emails at least every couple of days. And until then, good meats to you.